Today we are doing retro or vintage Halloween DIYs. I am participating in the Retro Halloween Challenge hosted by Up All Night DIY and Indiana Jones. I will leave the link to the playlist as well as the links to those wonderful ladies' channels in my description box. So when you're done watching here, head on over and watch the playlist for more Halloween inspiration. Let's get started. For this first DIY, I'll be using this splatter screen from the Dollar Tree. I'm using the one with the handle on the outside. They do sell the ones with the handle in the center, but they have a hole whenever you remove that handle. So you can use either one, just keep that in mind. I spray painted it with some black spray paint, and I'm going to chop off the handle with some bolt cutters that I got from Walmart. I did file down the edges with a metal file of where I cut so that it wouldn't be sharp and cut anyone. Now I'm using this yellow chalk paint from Waverly. I believe it's called Maze. And I'm just going to be painting a circle on the whole inside of this splatter screen here. And I did a couple of coats. Now, as you're looking at this, I have it sitting on a white piece of paper, and it doesn't look like it's showing up very much. But as soon, like at the end of this project, when I take pictures of it, I put it in front of a dark background. As soon as you put this in front of something dark, the image really pops. So what I'm making here is a moon, and we're going to put a silhouette of a witch in the center. I just did an image search for witch silhouette and printed out one of the first ones that I saw. And I'm going to tape it to the back of this splatter screen here with some painter's tape so that I can see it on the other side to fill in with paint. I'm using the color ink by Waverly, and I'm just going to give this one coat, and then I'm going to hold it up against something dark to be able to see it better, and then I will go back and do any touch-ups where the paint was a little too thin. And don't worry, that splattered sort of look, as soon as it dries, it looks much better. So you can see here I have it on some stained wood here on my countertop, and the image really pops, and there it is on my hardwood floor. So if you hung this on a white wall, it would not pop as much. So wherever you hung it, you'd want to hang it on a darker surface. For this next DIY, I'm taking some of this brown paper from the Dollar Tree. I'm just showing you that I'm not using the whole roll. I just unrolled a little bit and then rolled it back up again after I cut it, and then I'm cutting some strips. I'm going to use one of these 9-inch balloons from the Dollar Tree. I blew that up, and then I'm taking this little glass bowl from the Dollar Tree and I wrapped it in saran wrap just to protect the bowl from what I'm doing so that it'll be nice and clean when I'm done. And I'm taping it to the bottom of the balloon here so that it'll keep it stable while I'm decoupaging on this balloon. I had some glue left in this bottle, some plain school glue, and I'm just going to pour some water in as well as some wood glue. And I saw that tip online. I don't know if it made any difference, but the video I saw online said it strengthened it some. So I just went ahead and did it. Didn't think it would hurt anything. So I took my mixture of wood glue, school glue, and water and mixed it up. I didn't want it too watery or too thick. I haven't done any paper mache Mod Podging on a balloon like this since middle school. I do lots of Mod Podging and crafts, but the last time I used a balloon like this was in middle school. So I sort of had to relearn this technique. And at first I was using a foam brush to spread on the Mod Podge, but eventually I just set the brush aside and used my hands. It was much faster. Now here I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but I went ahead and made the ears. We're going to be making a cat head, but you could make it any animal or character you wanted to make. So I just cut out what I thought was a good, proportionate size for his ear. And I'm going to cut the bottom of the ear at a slant so it will sit on his curved head better and not just stick like directly out. It'll sort of point up. Then I put on a second layer of the paper strips. Now I did a very good job with putting on the second layer on the bottom, but as I got toward the top, I wasn't being as meticulous about making sure I hit every spot and just wasn't paying attention as much as I was at the start. So the bottom was very durable and the top was a little more flexible, which turned out to be okay. And in some shots you can actually see inside of the paper, inside of the bowl there, where you can see the light shining through the paper, and those are the spots that only have one layer. And so I actually originally wanted to make the bottom of my bowl flat by just pressing down and mashing it flat, but I couldn't do that because the bottom was so thick. So if you do 2 layers of paper, that's good. If you do 3, it's going to be extra sturdy. I just went around sort of tediously and cut off a little at a time to make the top look more uniform. Didn't want my bowl to be, or bucket, I'm not sure really what this ended up being, but I didn't want my bowl to be, wobbly. I wanted it to sit on a table without falling over so I could put candy in it or whatever. And so I'm putting a bottom on it, and I'm just using the lid of one of these paper boxes from the Dollar Tree and hot gluing that to the bottom of the bowl. I forgot to mention that what I used for the ears was some chipboard, some fairly thin chipboard, about the thickness of a cereal box. So if you have a cereal box, you could use that instead. And I'm just bending the ears a little bit, not too much, just giving them a little more, making them bent and have a little shape to them. And I'm just hot gluing. And the hot glue did a good job of filling in the gaps where my ears didn't fit, perfectly up against, the sides of the cat's head. I'm just showing you here my inspiration. This is on like an auctioneer site of a very old German cat head bucket. And I really liked his face, except it needed to be a little more cute, I felt. So I just did a combination sort of this cat and that one. And I like the shape of the eyes on the cartoon cat a little bit better than the perfectly sort of round on the old, folk art there. And so I just sort of looked at both of them and just did sort of a combination of both and ended up doing a very simple face. And once I got that drawn, I just cut it out with some scissors and a utility knife. I'm using the ink paint to paint the entire cat's head, and it did a really good job. It only needed one coat. I'm just showing you here how, if you wanted to make this a little more rustic, it was looking really nice to do a dry brush effect on this. It would have looked, you know, very rustic and old if I would have done this paint technique, and I think maybe that's a little too light-handed there, but I just wanted to show you how neat the dry brushing looked on all those strips of paper. Once that was dry, it was time to make the eyes, nose, and mouth to put inside of the bucket here. And I'm just taking some of this file folder because I didn't want it to be stark white. I wanted it to be off-white. So I'm just going to trace the eyes out and then cut around each eye a little bit bigger than what the actual size of the eye is, so that when I glue it on the inside, there will be a place to put the glue. I did two different styles of eyes. The first style was sort of looking off to the side. And then the second style, I did ones where the eyes were more centered, and I used this moss paint by Waverly and just did sort of a rainbow type motion, and it was more looking down. And then I went back and did some highlights on the black eyes. And then went for the black paint to do just sort of a curved line on the green. Now for the mouth, I'm just going to make some teeth, and a lot of the sort of old folk art style, you know, Halloween characters, they had more human-like teeth, and I liked that a little bit better than sort of the cat, you know, shark teeth. I was just looking at different vintage images, and so that's what I'm doing here. I wanted him to look cute, but more creepy than cute, and I don't know if I hit the mark, but I felt like the black eyes were more cute and the green ones were a little more creepy, and so I chose the green ones. But you tell me, you know, which ones down in the comment, which one you would have picked. And for the nose, I just did the same thing where I cut it a little bit bigger than the hole, and then I painted it with some red, and I wanted to age that red color up a little bit and I added some black to achieve that so it wasn't just so bright and bold. I decided that I did want whiskers, although I kind of go back and forth on whether I like the whiskers or not, but it does definitely make it scream cat more. I did do some eyebrows, but decided I didn't like those. It made him look angry or something. So I don't know why I didn't like the eyebrows, but you know, you can decorate him up however you like. You could certainly add a hanger on this to turn him into a bucket. Maybe use some wire, and you could just use a hole punch to make the holes for the handle. For this next one, I'm taking some of these images. They're all from the Graphics Fairy. I just searched for different characters, and I went on Photoshop and cut them out sort of digitally in Photoshop. And I made these printables for you guys, so the links to those will be in the description box. It's 3 different printables, so 9 total characters that you can cut out and to make into little stand-ups. I printed mine on some file folders from the Dollar Tree because I like that off-white color as opposed to a bright white. And I'm just showing you here a dotted line underneath each character where you can fold, and I made sure that, you know, on the bottom, below that dotted line will be the bottom of your stand. And I'm just showing how a tumbling tower block from the Dollar Tree fits perfectly. I sized it that way, but you could size these up or down, more down than up, because then, you know, if you size them any bigger, they pretty much fit an 8.5 by 11 page pretty good. They fill the page up pretty good. But I'm just using the block here to crease the fold, and then I'm going to glue the tumbling tower block on the base there so that this one won't fall over. I thought I would have to use the tumbling tower block to stabilize all of them, but it only turned out that the really tall ones were the ones that needed the help to stand up. So most of these are shorter, and they don't need the tumbling tower block to weight them down, and they stand up fine on their own and don't fall over. You can cut these out as tediously, you know, as you want, or you could just sort of cut around them to where you're not, you know, doing real detailed cutting, like that cat's head peeking out from the witch's skirt. I almost thought about just cutting, you know, his head right off because it didn't really need it and it would have made it faster, but just however, you know, detailed you want to cut them. That's it for this one. Don't forget to check out that playlist linked in the description box. I know I can't wait to see what everyone made for this retro Halloween challenge. I want to thank the hosts, Up All Night DIY and Indiana Jones. Go check out their channels as well for so many awesome DIY ideas. If you're new to my channel, maybe coming over from the playlist, my name is Carolyn and I love doing vintage farmhouse, primitive, and rustic DIYs. I hope you stick around by subscribing. But either way, thank you for watching and I hope you have a wonderful day. See you next time.